We have major breaking news. This just dropped. This is a Stop the Presses kind of story. Any of you guys old enough to remember Stop the Presses? A new video just dropped, and it's of Nancy Pelosi in her official SUV when she was still Speaker, being driven through a parking garage during the January 6th Capitol breach. And she's being filmed. This could be film that her daughter was taking, since her daughter just coincidentally, out of every day of the year, just happened to have a documentary film crew on January 6th with Pelosi. But Pelosi, she's wearing a mask in this, so it's a little hard to hear her, but I think you could make it out pretty clear. She admits responsibility in the January 6th Capitol breach, and she also confesses something that shows that Trump has been telling the truth all along. We knew that, but the J6 committee and the media have been accusing him of not telling the truth.
Okay, Mediaite just posted 14 minutes ago I don't know if it's in reaction to this. New footage shows Schumer raging Trump had not sent in the National Guard and said, "I'd like one good effing reason." Okay. So he's blaming Trump in some new footage. And think about that when you hear this.
Yeah, now, so we've got an answer to Schumer's question from Nancy Pelosi. And this is amazing. So we're going to just play the Nancy Pelosi audio uninterrupted. Then we'll talk about it. It's only 41 seconds long. I know it's a long time to listen to Nancy Pelosi, but this is 41 seconds long. It's Nancy Pelosi.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, there's not a question of how they had, but they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Okay. That's the whole thing. Okay, now between the mask and her dentures falling out, she's a little mumbled there. She needs to get that Paulette going on. But this is a confirmation that, now, of course, we know that President Trump's always telling us the truth, but the January 6th committee, the media, and the Never Trumpers, ever since January 6th, have claimed that he was not telling the truth. He offered the National Guard, and Pelosi turned it down. And at the end of that 41-second audio clip, Nancy Pelosi accepts responsibility for not having the National Guard there at the Capitol and prepared. So Trump was telling the truth. She's been lying. You know, the reason she didn't accept—
Yeah, remember he said he said that he asked her for extra security.
He offered it to her, and she turned it down.
That's right.
So she's accepting responsibility for that in that clip.
And she lied about that. She said that was not true. Mm-hmm. So here you see her telling the truth. Whoever, if you see it on Twitter, the person that filmed this, it's in her car. They're in the back seat behind her. It's like a big SUV with like two-seater things in the back. And this is somebody very close to her, like a foot away. And she lied about Trump asking for that. She said that's not true. He never did. So she's a liar, because in this footage, which is her in this car, she is saying that she is responsible. No, but she said that he lied about asking.
He didn't ask for it. He offered her her the soldiers, and she turned it down. And they've all been saying all along, and now she's saying it is her fault that they were not there, which acknowledges that she turned down President Trump's offer to have the soldiers there.
Even though she said he never made that offer.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
She lied about that, too.
Exactly. So you hear a complete panic in her voice.
She is panicked.
I think what she's panicked about, more so than the event, she's panicked that she's somehow going to be blamed for it since she turned down the National Guard.
Yeah, I think it's more about saving her own ass than anything. I think that she's panicked because the way things were happening, it was, going on. And from what I'm gleaning from this is she's like, I take responsibility. I should have had more people there And Trump even offered to have people there. It's like he was more prepared than her for what could happen. He was looking out more for people's safety. Just like with the rally in Nevada, I read that they brought in extra medics, extra water, that Trump is always looking out for to keep people safe.
Exactly.
And to make sure Americans are safe. He's always thinking about us. Pelosi's thinking about herself.
Yeah, exactly. And
she's a liar.
The thing with this footage, this is just 41 seconds. Wait till more comes out. Now there's going to be a thirst for more. No matter what happens with Trump at any period of time, no matter what he's involved in or something, he always comes out on top in the end and is proven not only to be right but truthful.
Because he has the truth on his side.
Yeah.
And I think he firmly believes that the truth eventually comes out. And the Bible talks about that, how the light will shine eventually and shine light in the darkness and everything will be exposed. Yeah. That's talked about in the Bible quite a few times. And I think Trump really believes that.
The thing with January 6th, one thing that I have learned so much, we've learned a lot from the Trump era. But the biggest thing I've learned is not to trust anything in the media, not to trust our history, because we're seeing history rewritten that we've lived through. And it's an interesting thing about January 6th, okay? Because in this day and age, everything's recorded. There's recordings everywhere. And so here you have 3.5 years later, all of a sudden, this 41-second clip of Nancy Pelosi.
How did this get released?
This clip of Nancy Pelosi is like the Zapruder film with the Kennedy assassination.
I don't think she
so
knew.
Enlightening.
I don't think she knew she was being recorded.
Yeah, her daughter was following her around with cammers.
On that day.
Yeah, all day.
We don't know if that was her daughter in there recording. It looked like from an iPhone to me.
Her daughter was using both iPhones and film cameras. Her daughter is a documentary filmmaker. And just coincidentally, out of every day her mother was speaker, she just happened to be there with her movie crew on January 6th, just coincidentally. And I think it was one of those instances where, she forgot the cameras were on.
Well, I'll disagree with you about the history thing because I feel like, there are some things you question, but I feel like eventually history corrects itself. It's happening now. Lies have been told. The media, I think people are just absolutely – look, I'm not saying the media has never lied, but I think with Trump – I think they've lied more than they've ever lied. I think they've lied more than they have ever in their past. The media has always been dishonest, the yellow journalism, all that stuff. But I think with Trump, they amped it up so much. And now all those lies are coming to the surface and everything's being exposed. And Trump is being vindicated like on a colossal
every day.
level. I mean, he must be sitting back. This is a man who has endured. I mean, he's meeting with his probation officer today. This is a man who has endured so much, but he's a very patient man. I mean, how many people would let this ride out and just sit back? And he must be sitting back and being like, feeling so good with this video. You don't think this vindicates him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is she going to be charged now with something?
Yeah. And, this
for she took responsibility. She just said it.
And she's been lying about it ever since. And this is not something she's going to be able to deny because it's there. They may try to spin this and everything else.
Or they'll just ignore it, like the thing with the letter from the judge. They totally have ignored that. They've totally ignored it.
That's not over yet. The compromised juror in the Trump case, that's not over yet.
That's why Twitter is important, and it's really important for you guys to be on Twitter because there are things, and this is right out of her mouth. This is not edited. This is not a compilation. This is not a dubbed over. It's not AI. This is an actual video of her in the car. There's no spinning this. The only thing they can do is pretend it doesn't exist.
See, the thing about Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that makes it so important is it reaches everybody from every political viewpoint. True Social's great, but it's more like a club, like a private club kind of. It's people that are like
Twitter's,
us already love it.
Better.
So, for these things to matter, for things like this to make a difference, for things like this to make change, it has to be seen by people other than us MAGA people. It has to be seen by by other people. This clip of Nancy Pelosi admitting responsibility, not only admitting, I mean, she's like, I'm responsible for this, is huge. Now, Lindsey Graham did an interview on Face the Nation. I was going to play this morning.
And then I want you to look at this when you're done.
I was going to play this morning on the morning stream, but there were so many things happening today. I didn't have the time to give this any mention. I didn't want to just say it and pass it on because this is very important. Lindsey Graham did one of those, said the quiet part out loud. He was on Face the Nation on Sunday, the Sunday shows. And nobody watches these Sunday shows. And when things of interest happen, you hear about it online, you go and you get the clip. That's what I do. The old days had to watch all these shows. I don't have to do it anymore. Lindsey Graham admitted what the war in Ukraine is all about for the government. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Now, of course, the cover story with Ukraine is it's about democracy. It's about freedom. And Lindsey Graham, who's one of the biggest warmongers there is, he's big into the military-industrial complex, Let me just play this. This is Lindsey Graham on Face the Nation yesterday, talking about the real reason for our involvement in Ukraine.
What did Trump do to get the weapons flowing? He created a loan system. They're sitting on $10 to $12 trillion of critical minerals in Ukraine. They could be the richest country in all of Europe. I don't want to give that money and those assets to Putin to share with China. If we help Ukraine now, they can become the best business partner we ever dreamed of. That $10 to $12 trillion of critical mineral assets could be used by Ukraine and the West, not given to Putin and China. This is a very big deal how Ukraine ends. Let's help them win a war we can't afford to lose. Let's find a solution to this war. But they're sitting on a gold mine to give Putin $10 or $12 trillion of critical minerals that he will share with China is ridiculous.
Okay, so now this is the first time I've heard this. And I looked this up. What are some of the minerals they have?
What are critical minerals?
Graphite, so I don't know if it make pencils with, I don't know, coal, humongous deposits, though, of iron ore, which is very valuable, and huge deposits of titanium, which is also very valuable. So the main one is iron ore and titanium. And, Russia has a lot of natural resources, but so much of it is frozen Siberia. It's very hard to get to.
Oh. China, they have a lot of oil up there.
There's a lot of oil in Russia, but there's a lot of other things in Russia, but it's too hard to get because of the climate. China is not that rich in resources. Like, they don't have any oil, but they're not rich in resources. All they got is people. And,
that's exactly right.
And China is always starving for resources, right? That's why they're trying to get us into the EVs.
That's really what gives a country power.
So what Lindsey Graham is talking about, I'm not supporting any U.S. involvement in Ukraine. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. But what Lindsey Graham's talking about makes Ukraine much more important than it was 10 seconds ago, to me. Okay, this cover story that we're fighting for freedom when Zelensky's finished his term and he's still the president and has suspended elections forever, and he's now a dictator running under martial law. Nobody buys that freedom thing. If they would have come at this from the beginning about the natural ores, that the ore and the minerals and everything else, I'm not saying we should be supporting them at all or we should have any involvement there. But strategically, that makes a lot more sense than this cover story they've been showing us. And maybe this is what Putin's after. He's after the minerals in there.
Maybe, or maybe this is what the deep state wants you to believe to justify all this money.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You never know.
I wanted you to look at this new interactive poll that just came out. Follow interactive polls on Twitter or on X. They do updated polls all the time. And this one's pretty good for Trump.
Well, they got they're
pretty accurate.
Their polls are very scientifically accurate, and they have Trump winning against Biden 56 to 35%.
Yeah, that's the biggest gap there's been.
And they give 2% to RFK. So that has. And
then there's a breakdown for the House and Senate too.
And wait, where I just lost the House and Senate. I just see presidential. I don't see the House and Senate. I have to look that one up. I'll have to look for that one a bit later. But Interactive Polls has Trump not just winning the presidency, but winning it big time. And that's with RFK in the mix.
He is at 56. Biden's at 35. Trump has jumped 21 points in this poll, and RFK is only at 2%. He's not making the dent that they were hoping for. When Ross Perot ran against Bush and Clinton, he got a significant. I mean, you voted for him. My parents voted for Ross Perot.
I voted for Ross Perot.
And they're Republican. My mom, my dad, my stepmom, they all voted for him. He got a significant number of probably 20%, I would think. I mean, he got a big chunk. RFK is a kook.
Yes.
And I think him coming out and saying that he thinks abortion is okay up to the day of birth. This is a Catholic man.
Yeah.
I think that sealed his fate with conservatives. So just keep that in mind. So,
no, things are going well. And, you know, this story of the corrupt juror in the New York trial, which has been totally, I haven't seen any mention of it really to speak of in the press today. They're trying to make that kind of go away in the press. I think there's obviously an investigation going on about that. Okay. And Trump's lawyers are not just going to let that disappear. So they're going to make a move involving that possible jury problem they have. It's a big one. And we could be getting a mistrial. And you really got to wonder, do they want a mistrial at this point? Because Trump's, you look at these polls, Trump's popularity has soared so high with the corrupt verdict. What's it going to be if they give him a sentence? It's going to even go further through the roof. Now interactive polls, they also dropped some state-by-state polls, okay?
This is after his conviction, keep in mind.
Yeah,
this is today, which is what, June 10th?
Yeah. So in Nevada, they have Trump over Biden 64-36.
Wow. Isn't that typically a blue state?
They're saying that it's been Trump for a while now. All of a sudden, Georgia, interactive polls is giving Trump Georgia over Biden 65-35%.
These are 30-point gaps.
Oh, yeah.
This is huge. This is not 5 points.
Arizona, they're giving Trump Arizona over Biden 61-39.
Yep.
In North Carolina, they're giving Trump North Carolina over Biden 78-22. So, I mean, these are
oh my goodness,
humongous numbers. But the bigger ones are Georgia, Arizona, and then Nevada.
So what do you think the left and the deep state are thinking?
Panic.
When his sentencing is coming, and they're looking at these polls, because the interactive polls is very well known and they're very accurate. And they got Trump over Biden 25-30 points in the national election. Everything they've done has helped this man. I said this a year ago or so, that they've turned him into a folk hero.
Yep.
He's like Davy Crockett. Okay. We all love Davy Crockett. When I was a kid, Davy Crockett was big. Not that he went through all this stuff with Trump, but Davy Crockett was a politician. He wasn't treated so great all the time. He's a folk hero. They've made him an American folk hero. Okay. And his popularity is bigger now than ever. I mean, I really was worried when he announced he was running again that he would not be able to catch that momentum. They are driving the momentum. They're driving this. They're helping him. And I don't think they are smart enough to stop. I think they're just going to keep plugging along and keep trying different things. I don't think they can help themselves at this point. They're so down that rabbit hole.
What I would guess is going on now,
they got to be panicked.
There's two different factions, okay?
Yeah.
They're the ones like you are. We're never going to give up. And then there's the other faction that's in a panic. It's kind of like when Germany was about to collapse, Hitler was in the bunker and he was still giving orders to the army. And a lot of his government leaders and generals were trying to work out deals with the Allies.
Yeah, they knew it was
so
over.
They didn't get locked up,
right.
you know? And Hitler was still fighting. That's kind of like what is going on now with the Democrats and the Never-Trumpers and the Uniparty. You have the one group that are still Hitler in the bunker, and then you have the other group that are like, how can we get out of this?
This video of Pelosi is not good. Believe me, they're panicked.
Now, before we break, I want to tell you about the great American patriot, Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is amazing. You know, what he has sacrificed for his support of Trump is just amazing. He's had like tens of millions of dollars in lawsuits against him. He just had another federal court just ruled that he has to pay somebody $5 million, Kathy. Can you believe this? Another, they kicked him out of Walmart. They kicked him out of Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond did themselves in for that. After that, they kicked him out of Kohl's and all these other big retailers. Kicked him off of QVC. They've kicked him out of all these places. Mike Lindell has not laid off any of his workers through all of this. And Mike Lindell,
that's amazing.
He's so much like Trump in that they're punishing him from all these different ways, but he's survived. And what's kept Mike Lindell and MyPillow going, and the people that work for Mike Lindell are people like you out there who continue to buy MyPillow products. On our bed, I'm not exaggerating. We have this is just on our bed all the time. Okay, we have some that are in the other rooms and everything else. We have 6 to 8 MyPillows on our bed right now. We have all of them. We have the MyPillow 2.0s. We have the Giza Elegance pillows. Yep. We have the MyPillows that started it all. We've got the Giza Dream Sheets. We've got the mattress toppers. We've got the slippers. We got the robes. We got the towels. We've got the pet beds. We've got it all. And all of these MyPillow products, we have bought them with the promo code Kane, of course, Kane at checkout.
And we bought a lot of them at much higher prices than they're available now.
Because now they have the all-time low.
Yeah, everything, and we were glad to do it, but the stuff that we bought 2 years ago, even last year, now is like up to 80% off. It's amazing.
On some of the top MyPillow products. And I want to tell you, MyPillow, Mike Lindell personally made the decision to support this program and all of my content. Yeah. He personally did it. Kathy reached out to him, and you talked to Mike Lindell. And he made the decision on the spot, and he told his people, I want to support that program. And he's been doing it ever since.
Yeah, and the quality has not gone down. You know how when you go to a restaurant or get groceries, and I've noticed there's less food for more money? They're doing that now. That's called like shrinkflation or some name where you go out to eat
shrinkflation,
and you get less than you used to get, and it's a little more money. That's not happening. The quality is just as good as it was in the beginning. I promise you.
Absolutely.
He really cares about his workers. He cares about America, and he cares about his product. Mm-hmm. It's got his name on it, basically. He really cares about it.
When you go to MyPillow.com and you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, of course, you're supporting us. So please do that. But you're also supporting the great American patriot, Mike Lindell, who, along with his company, have suffered so much for their support of Trump. I just want to say one last thing, and then we'll move on. Mike Lindell's office contacted me late last night. I got the message this morning, something I did not know about the MyPillow mattress topper. Okay, the MyPillow mattress topper is as much as 50% off, depending on which one you get. All right, it's either 40 or 50% off, depending on which one you pick. And it's free shipping because it's free shipping site-wide on orders over $75.
That's great.
With our promo code
it's heavy.
Kane.
It's not light. It's a solid, not solid, it's soft, but it's thick.
Yeah, so you get the MyPillow mattress topper for up to 50% off and free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. But this is what I did not know that they told me about. You know the MyPillow mattress topper comes with a money-back guarantee? I did not know that. With a money-back guarantee. Not that you're going to want to take advantage of it because you're going to love it. So go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Support us, support Mike Lindell, support his great company, and support his employees. We're going to take our first break. Don't go anywhere. There's some big stuff. I got more on the Pelosi thing we're going to get to coming up, and something big about Ben Shapiro that it blew my mind that I just found out.
A lot on this show today.
Yeah. My name's Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't go anywhere. We will be back right after this.
Have you ever heard that laughter is the best medicine? You'll find out how true that is with your weekly Therapy podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Host Tell and Anne-Marie, your not-so-typical therapist and nurse practitioner duo, have a flair for ADHD and life's hilarities. They'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even rethink some of your life choices. And that's just in one episode. And no topic is off limits. Tell and Anne-Marie discuss everything from gaslighting, daily life with ADHD, ADHD, and relationships. Add your weekly therapy podcast to your podcast playlist, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can catch the video podcast on YouTube. Don't just cope, laugh, learn, and sip some therapy. It's therapy with a twist. Share the podcast on all your social media so your friends can tune in too. Your weekly therapy podcast. Start listening right now. Father's Day is just around the corner. Are you searching and searching for that perfect gift that says, "Thanks, Dad"? Then look no further than ActicFox Market US on Etsy. Their bestseller is the wooden keepsake puzzle piece with matching keychain. Each piece is laser engraved with a heartfelt message. You can choose from their thoughtful messages or customize it with your own words to make it uniquely his. ActicFox Market US on Etsy has a wide range of thoughtful, customizable gifts, from unique apparel and patriotic creations to stylish home decor and accessories. Every piece is designed with love and crafted to bring a smile to Dad's face. And here's something to really celebrate. Use the promo code RADIO and save 15% off any order over $79.50, plus free shipping anywhere in the United States. That's right, free shipping. Make this Father's Day unforgettable. Visit the shop right now online at ActicFoxMarketUS.Etsy.com. ActicFox Market US is US veteran owned. Start shopping right now online at ActicFoxMarketUS.Etsy.com. That's ActicFoxMarketUS.Etsy.com. Your special gift for a special dad is just a click away. ActicFoxMarketUS.Etsy.com. How would you like to have fresh, organic greens right in your own home? Braga Farms, a family-run urban farm located in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, has been bringing the farm-to-table experience to doorsteps like yours for years. And now they're sharing their secrets in their new book, The Gardener's Art of War, from author J.T. Braga. This is the first book in their garden series. The Gardener's Art of War combines the wisdom of Sun Tzu with practical gardening strategies and a transformative 13-chapter guide. With this book, you'll learn how to tackle garden challenges with precision, how to nurture soil health, and combat pest invasions, all through the lens of strategic mastery. Whether you're a novice or a seasoned gardener with years of experience, The Gardener's Art of War will equip you with the knowledge to cultivate a flourishing garden oasis. Join Braga Farms in their mission to get as many people planting and growing as possible in 2024. Make sure to check out their Amazon collection, where you will find everything you need to know to grow, spread seeds, and help your urban farm keep going well into the summer and beyond. Order your copy of The Gardener's Art of War online at BragaFarmsDFW.com. The Gardener's Art of War and the Amazon collection from Braga Farms. Order your copy right now at BragaFarmsDFW.com, and let's grow together. Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. And remember, whatever platform you're listening to us on, make sure that you follow or subscribe, whatever that platform requires. Okay, there's a lot to get into.
Oh my goodness, there's so much happening. It's crazy.
You know, I do 2 shows a day, right? I got the morning show, which is 3 hours, and then we do the podcast in the afternoon. And the thing with the podcast, because you guys know this crazy schedule I have, but we do the podcast late in the day because there's a new news cycle happens, you know?
We wait as long as possible.
Today, every single one of the things we've mentioned on the program so far, each one of those could be an entire show.
Yes.
But we're going through stories today faster than we normally would, because on the podcast, I like to break things down a little bit more sometimes that I can't do on the radio in the morning, because the radio is more, you can't do it on radio. Well, all kinds of weird reasons. So I like to get a little more in depth on the podcast. We're going through things so fast today because today is one of the biggest breaking news days of my entire over 30-year broadcasting career.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people, plus I'm on the show, which makes it even more important. Yes. A lot of people have, over the years emailed us and messaged us that they listen to the radio show and this podcast to get their news. So while Brian is talking, I am searching Twitter. I am constantly refreshing to get the latest breaking stories for you guys. And today, I just retweeted like 5 things. I'm like, Brian, you got to hear this. You got to hear this. And he's going to play these sound bites for you. And the one on MSNBC is very interesting.
We'll get to that one in a few minutes.
That's really good. And one by Mayorkas.
We're going to start
finish with Pelosi. What you wanted to finish.
We'll get to that later. No, see what we went. There was some more breaking news during the break. So the Pelosi thing, we'll put that off for now.
Sorry if we're.
We'll get to that.
There's a lot coming in.
Oh, there is a lot coming in. My mind is on overload. Okay, so let's get to this. Mayorkas. I don't know what he was thinking.
I know it's incredible.
He went on this clip from Mayorkas.
Yesterday.
He should probably be arrested for this.
He's admitting what you've said has been going on for a year.
Now, Mayorkas, I know most people know, but I want to highlight who he is, what he is. He's the Secretary of Homeland Security. And on 9/11, what came out of 9/11 were many things, but one of it was the Department of Homeland Security. And the reason that the Department of Homeland Security did not exist before 9/11, it was created in response to 9/11, because what happened was this is what they told us, but Bush and Cheney are lying war criminals, so we didn't realize it at the time. But what they told us
lying
was
scum.
There were about 30 different intelligence agencies at the time that were operating independently of one another in this country. Every branch of the military has its own intelligence agency, the 3-letter agencies, it goes on and on.
Right.
And many of them had a little piece. This is what they told us, okay? Each of them had a little piece of information. If they were under one big umbrella, 9/11 could have been stopped. So the Department of Homeland Security was formed to protect the homeland. And what Biden has done with Mayorkas is reversed it. The Department of Homeland Security, their mission now is to, I don't know if this is a word, unprotect the homeland instead of protect it, and open up all of our borders. And we're
in bizarro world.
Yeah, I've been telling you guys during the last 3.5 years of the Biden regime that there is an organization throughout Latin America that is orchestrating this very organized march of illegals to the United States. So Mayorkas confessed that he's the one behind it, which is astounding. I thought it was the cartels in China and all this. It's the United States.
He's probably working with them.
Well, it's the United States Department of Homeland Security under Mayorkas. Listen to this. This is we started the show with that confession of Nancy. What's going on? Now we got Mayorkas with his confession. Listen.
We have increased the number of refugees that we will accept from the Western Hemisphere. We have built safe mobility offices in Colombia, Ecuador, Guatemala, Costa Rica to reach people where they are so they don't have to take the perilous journey.
That means they're transporting people.
They're flying them here.
They're transporting, and they have multiple offices in every country.
Yeah.
They are actively,
and Kathy,
not only are
those offices are for the sole purpose of bringing them here.
Right.
Illegally.
Not only are they keeping the border open, They're actively shipping them in.
Yeah.
They're shipping people here. This has been going on the whole time. He just admitted this. We've talked about this. You and I have said this. It's amazing how people in MAGA have said all these things, and they told us we were wrong, we were lying, we were kooks. The left are wrong on everything. They're wrong, either knowingly or not knowingly. They don't know what the hell is going on, or they do know and they're covering it up. It's one or the other. But he just admitted that they have satellite offices in every country in South America, basically, and they are actively shipping illegals into this country. Now, France just had a major election. I don't know too much about it, but it was so earth-shattering that Macron closed the government down or something, and it's shifted to, it's basically become MAGA, and they are actively deporting. Yeah. There was just a woman on Twitter crying. She's being deported out of France. This is what you're going to see now across the globe. Globalism has failed. The Great Reset is failing. And all these countries now, the people are fed up. They're losing their culture. They're tired of this. They're tired of being pushed around. Yeah. And you are going to see this in Europe and here and maybe other places. They're deporting all these freaking people back to where they came from.
Well, okay. Now,
this is too much. It's too much for us to handle.
This confession of Mayorkas. Okay, this is amazing.
It's incredible.
The thing with Nancy Pelosi is an admission, is a confession.
We got two big admissions.
But she was like having a panic attack on January 6th. So that wasn't meant to be a confession. She was just terrified and reacting that she screwed up and she's going to get in trouble.
She was in a panic, so she wasn't,
And she wasn't concerned about the Capitol. She was concerned for covering her rear end. Mayorkas here, though, I don't understand why he went on national television and confessed that the United States Department of Homeland Security have these embassies or travel agencies or something throughout Latin America that are there for the sole purpose of transporting people here by airplane, is what I'm assuming there, so they don't have to take that tough journey through the pass and all that stuff. I mean, this is amazing. Now, this next clip is MSNBC. I'm not going to do any – I'm just going to play it. It explains itself, okay? This is MSNBC, and they're talking about these polls, like the ones we were just going over, okay?
When it comes to describing each candidate, this new poll shows that voters say Trump is more tough, energetic, effective, competent.
Yeah. I mean, that's MSNBC. I mean, for these are just astounding admissions and confessions.
It is
that we're getting. And
what do you think that is about? Because for MSNBC to say anything good about Trump, there's a reason they're doing that. And I personally believe, and I've said this on the last show, they want Biden to resign. They got to convince his wife, because he doesn't even know what day it is anymore. No. He is so out of it. He might not even know who his children. He could be like my grandfather was. My grandpa, after, about a year or two before he passed away from Alzheimer's, he didn't know who I was, and I was his favorite. He only knew who my grandma was. That's it. Nobody else. He didn't know my dad, nobody. And I think that's what's happening to Biden. I don't think he even knows who people in his life are anymore. He's so out of it. So they got to convince his wife and people around him. The problem is he's the perfect puppet, but they cannot hide it anymore. He has gotten so bad. They have got to find, they want him out to replace him. But I got to tell you, there is no way that his wife is going to let him resign. I don't see that happening. I think she's running a lot of the country. I think she's signing things.
Absolutely.
I think she's making policy. I think she is our first female president that we've ever had unofficially. Of course, there are other women that maybe Nancy Reagan did some stuff too.
Not like
I'm sure
this.
It's not the first time. But and maybe John Adams' wife had some influence. But, I'm saying I think Jill Biden is really running things a lot. And there is no way she's going to give that up. And I think the liberal media is really is amping up their pressure on him because they want him to leave so they can replace him before the convention. But I don't even think he sees that stuff.
There may be some of that, but I think
why do you think they're attacking him
this
so
thing
much?
With MSNBC? It goes back to what I was telling you a few minutes ago. The Democrats and the Never Trumpers have these two factions. The one faction that still think there's a path for victory, like Hitler in the bunker, and this other group that are terrified. And I think that they're like denouncing Biden because they've all been involved in all kinds of criminal activity, treasonous activity, many of them. And some of them, like Fannie Willis and this judge
It's all
in New York,
coming to light. They're freaking out.
They're trying to suck up to Trump. They want Trump. They want to come.
Way.
I'm telling you,
You think they're worried?
When at the end of the Second World War, many of the top Nazis, while Hitler was still alive, were reaching out and trying to negotiate with Eisenhower. Okay, that's kind of what's going on here. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for your support of the program. Those of you that are Patreon supporters, your support does help us out a lot. It's greatly appreciated. And remember, those of you that are Patreon supporters, of course, you continue to support this program and all of my content. But, you do have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. I upload every day when we upload a new podcast, I upload to the Patreon page a commercial-free edition of each and every podcast episode. And I know a lot of you Patreon supporters do actually listen to those, but all of you have access to them. So if you go to the Patreon page, there's also a lot of content that Kathy and I both post up there that we post nowhere else. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you're going to hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, John, Paulette, Carlos, Mike P, Macho, Wesley, Nick, Rick, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob, and Trish Wilkerson, and of course our newest top Patreon supporter that just joined us on our last episode, Christy R. These are our top Patreon supporters. Now, if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. You go to that link, it'll walk you through it. And depending on what platform you're on, some platforms it's clickable, some you got to copy and paste it. All right? So go and do that. Okay, now this other clip is this illegal immigrant in France. And let me just play this. Okay, she's crying and saying some things in France, but crying is an international language. She's very upset. I feel bad for her, and I feel bad for a lot of the illegals, not all of them, because obviously, like Lake and Riley's killer and stuff. But a lot of these they're brought here on false promises, and illegals. I mean, look, they're coming from poverty that we cannot even fathom. I mean, And America is the greatest country in the world, and of course they want to be here and they want to come here. So how can you blame them for that? They've been given these false promises. But the deportations of illegals, like is going to be happening in France, it's got to happen here. It's too much of a drain on our system. We were talking on.
It's too many people too quickly.
Yes.
And the handouts.
This is just strain on the system.
And it's. Democrats know how to spend money. That's for sure.
Well,
and that's all they know how to do of our money. And this is such a strain. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. America has always welcomed. We're a nation of immigrants. Obviously, all of us except Native Americans came from other places. None of us were, our ancestors were initially from here. We all understand that. But you have to come here legally, okay? You have to come here legally, and Mayorkas is admitted to shipping in. That proves that they are purposely doing this. They're not stopping anything. They're actually facilitating this.
That's right.
Who is paying for that?
We
are paying for that. Not only are we paying for that, we're also paying for. I just saw a video on X now that the Logan Airport in Boston has turned into an illegal shelter now. Mm-hmm. There's so many people here, they're putting them in airports, and they have nowhere to put them now. But they're still bringing them in. They have no way to house them. They have no way. So what are they telling these people? They're not giving them jobs. They're not doing anything. I mean, they're just bringing these people in and dumping them at airports, and that's it. Who's paying to feed these people? Who's paying for their medical care? Are they getting their inoculations? They don't have inoculations in some of these countries. Now we have measles. I read an article where now there's actually smallpox is coming back. These are all things we've been vaccinated against since we were kids. Chicken pox, all these things, they're not inoculated. That's one issue. Not to mention, like I said, the food, the housing. Where are these people going? But they still are bringing them in. They're bringing them in. It is never going to stop unless Trump is in office. It will not stop. It'll get worse. It'll get worse if Biden wins again.
That's right.
And they'll double their efforts.
That's right. Yeah.
I read that Jill Biden, you had told me how she flew from France back here to go to Hunter's trial for one day and back to, you know how much that cost the taxpayers? $325,000.
Oh, and I bet much more than that.
So how much is it costing to fly in these people? And they're giving them money. They're giving them cell phones. They're giving, I mean, and then in the meantime, I'd sent you a thing, somebody posted the prices at the Cheesecake Factory and how much they've gone up since Trump. It's unbelievable. Like a burger during Trump.
Let me go over. I got the price.
This is a restaurant everybody goes to. This our daughter is one of her favorites when she's in town. We love to go there with her.
I've never been a fan of the Cheesecake Factory.
It's a middle of the road. Always been a middle of the road restaurant. Not cheap, but not too expensive. Very nice place.
Yeah. Now but I'll go through some of this.
I like it.
I've never been a big fan of the Cheesecake Factory, but you know everybody else.
No,
seems
you don't
to be.
like cheesecake.
No, not really. I'm not a big fan of it.
Their cheesecake's awesome.
But this is a price list, and it's the cheesecake prices from December 2020 to today. Okay, the original cheesecake in December 2020 was $6.95. Now it's $10.50.
This is just 4 years later.
Yeah, well, less than really. You know,
Trump versus Biden.
It's 3.5. It's 51.1% increase.
Wow.
The egg roll sampler in December 2020 was $11.95. Now it's $17.95. That's over a 50%.
And you're probably
increase.
getting less food. You're probably getting less portions.
The Thai lettuce wraps were $13.95 in December 2020.
Those are good.
They're now $19.50, which is a 39.8% increase. The Smokehouse Barbecue Burger was $13.95. It's now $18.50, a 32.6% increase. Yeah,
in
and
3.5 years.
It's that way across the board, everywhere, on everything.
In California, I am reading endless articles how businesses, fast food businesses, are shutting down because of this new mandatory $20 minimum wage. Blaze Pizza, where we eat, we like Blaze. They just announced they're moving their headquarters from Pasadena to Georgia because the taxes are so high and they're closing a bunch of their restaurants there. There's a Mexican restaurant that had 48 restaurants that was very well known around LA in that area. They closed all their restaurants. They just filed bankruptcy because they cannot afford to pay the $20 minimum wage. Gavin Newsom, I mean, do you think he's stupid or a mad scientist? I mean, what is it?
He's both.
I mean,
he's both.
He is crazy. He is destroying California. But you know, our daughter Emily lives there. She said they love the guy.
I know. She doesn't understand.
She doesn't love him, but she said people in LA, they love him. I said, well, they're idiots.
Well, we'll see how much they love him.
Now they're not going to have restaurants to go to anymore.
Now that Trump is going to remove taxes on tips.
Incredible.
Let's see how many California tip workers love Gavin over Trump.
Well, you know, it won't matter because they're closing all the restaurants there, so they won't have any jobs.
On the morning show, I got a call towards the end of the show, and this guy made such a great point. You know, Trump yesterday in his rally in Las Vegas promised to
That's amazing.
Do away with the taxes on tips. And the tip economy, there are more people that are receiving tips now than ever before in the history of this country. It used to be just like waitresses and bartenders. Now you got Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, Instacart, Uber Eats. It's endless, right? So there could be 100 million people in this country that are working for tips. You know, even more. Who knows? I mean, you know what I mean? With this new economy that we have, that's huge. And someone had called in. And then this guy made such a great point. He said, this is another hardcore Democrat constituency that Trump has taken away.
Yes.
Service
Plus
workers.
young people too.
Service workers and most people that work in the hospitality industry, like waiters, waitresses, and bartenders are younger. But the service workers, they have a whole union, SEIU, the Service Workers International Union, was Obama's union. That's the tip economy. And this is Trump taking the service economy away from the Democrats with a snap of his fingers.
Well, they're going to ignore it until he brings it up again.
He's going to have to bring it up alive.
He'll bring it up over and over, and then they'll find all the negatives. But it's a very good thing, and most tips now are digital. It's not the old days where waiters and waitresses could just like have cash, and then they could, pocket it, and not everybody knew what they, that's really the reality of it.
Those days are over.
Now everything for a while now is a digital tip, like Instacart, DoorDash, like you said, anything.
Or Apple Pay or a debit card at a restaurant.
I mean, if I get something delivered from Target, which I do sometimes because I have the Target Circle, it's free, but I tip the guy $5-10, so that's digital. That goes through that. So they're going to get 1099s, and they're going to get. So he is going to eliminate a tax on anybody on those tips, and I think that's a good thing. I think that'll really help the economy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think nobody has ever thought of that.
No one.
But you're going to hear the media, as soon as he starts pushing that more and more, it's going to sink in, and they're going to start to panic. And you're going to start hearing all the reasons why that's bad. Mm-hmm. Don't even watch MSNBC and even CNN.
Yeah.
Because all they do is tell you everything he's doing that's wrong.
Now, I want to tell you guys about
they're always lying.
Something about the show that a lot of you know, but a lot of you I don't think do know. Okay. Now, the Brian Craig Show podcast, we are on all podcast platforms. If there's a podcast platform, this program is on it. And I also upload the podcast to YouTube. And the podcast is on YouTube Music. We're on everything. We're on Audible, which is kind of like fancy, right? We're on everything. But on YouTube, we do something different. Okay, we're on YouTube Music. That's one thing. But on regular YouTube, we do something a little different. Again, we are on all podcast platforms, your Spotify, everything, okay? But on YouTube, we do something very different. And I think it's pretty cool. And I wanted to tell you guys about it that don't know about this. I know a lot of you do because you're there, but a lot of you don't. On YouTube, what we do is we upload the podcast to YouTube, but we do it in a live premiere, which means there's a live chat room going on during the entire podcast. We have a very large community of people that are in that chat room. And Kathy and I are both in there too, interacting with the chat room. And I like it because in the mornings when I'm live streaming, or anytime that I'm live streaming on YouTube, there's a chat room. And my ability to interact with the chat room, especially when I'm on the radio, is a little bit limited because I can't talk to the chat room while I'm on the radio. It's not fair to the radio audience. When we upload the podcast with the live chat room, with the live premiere, I interact with you guys, as does Kathy. And I like it because I get to interact with you in the chat room. And when we do that, we upload it to YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It goes live. 7 p.m. Eastern time, we upload the podcast to YouTube. There's a live chat there. And we set it up before the show goes live. So there's a live chat in there well before the show starts that you can participate in. But when the show gets going, the chat room fills up, and it's a great community of people there that you can interact with, okay? So 7 p.m. Eastern, live premieres of the podcast on my YouTube channel, which is Brian Craig Show on YouTube, all right? Brian Craig Show on YouTube. And check that out and participate. And if you don't catch it live if you can, because you get that live. But if you don't catch it live, you can still get the chat later. Okay, if you want to go through there. All right, we're going to take our last break. I got a big story we're going to cover after this break. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
Step into the future with author Larry Matthews Jr. in the Emergence series, a groundbreaking series of books that explores artificial intelligence like never before. Begin with Book 1, Emergence 1, The Dawn of Conscious AI. It shares the fascinating parallels between human cognition and the AI learning processes. Discover how cutting-edge quantum computing melds with AI to redefine the technological landscape. Then, Emergence 2, an in-depth look at the psychology Psychology of Artificial Intelligence, where you'll unravel the psychological underpinnings that shape AI's behavior and face its ethical challenges. In Emergence 3, Unified Theories, visionary frameworks could enable AI to think and learn just like humans, transforming fields from healthcare to finance. The Emergence series is a passport to the next frontier of technological innovation. Join the intellectual adventure and order your copies right now on Amazon and the author's website, LarryMatthewsJr.com. Unlock the mysteries of AI and discover the vast potential of tomorrow's technology today. The Emergence series from author Larry Matthews Jr. on Amazon and LarryMatthewsJr.com. From authors A.W. Guerra and Kelly C. Hogan comes Second Strike, Danger Close, the second book in their explosive trilogy, now available on Amazon. 1 year after a devastating terrorist attack on the United States, retired Delta Force member Luke Ellis and college freshman Annie Dedham are back. Together, they embark on a high-stakes, cross-country mission to prevent global war between the United States and China. With the help of a self-aware AI, Luke and Annie face off against Chinese special forces and a sinister AI. But the AI may be under the influence of an even darker force. As the clock ticks down, sacrifices must be made. Will Luke, Annie, and the AI be enough to stop impending war? Find out when you read Second Strike, Danger Close from authors A.W. Guerra and Kelly C. Hogan. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Don't miss out on this heart-pounding sequel. Order your copy right now. Think you know everything about American history? Guess again. Enter the shadows of America's past with America's Strangest History, a podcast where the forgotten stories of American history come to life. Host John Genoa is a historian and practicing attorney. His research uncovers the eerie and unusual aspects of American history that's not covered by mainstream historians. From untold mysteries to hidden history, each episode reveals spine-chilling secrets that are a part of America's actual historical record. Did you know about the earliest recorded instance of vampirism in Vermont? That's just one glimpse of what you'll uncover on America's Strangest History. New episodes drop every week. America's Strangest History is available wherever you get your podcast. You can watch the video podcast on YouTube. Subscribe today, tune in, and share the podcast with all your friends on social media. America's Strangest History with host John Genoa on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Start listening right now.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to ask you a question. How important is a good night's sleep, and when was the last time you got one? I get one each and every night with the MyPillow mattress topper. They're 50% off now with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Pair it with new pillows and those fabulous Giza Dream Sheets. There's huge discounts on those, too. Free shipping on all orders over $75 with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. You'll thank me in the morning.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. I meant to play this clip in the last hour. This is a CBS News reporter. They interviewed some people that are part of the tip economy about Trump going to do away with the taxes on tips. Listen to this.
I did talk with some hotel workers yesterday, some service workers here in Las Vegas about how that is playing with them. And Anne-Marie, about 6 people told me that would change their vote. That is enough to make them switch from voting Democrat to Republican if Donald Trump is promising something like that to them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know,
this is going to scare the hell out of them.
Yeah. How many people in New York City are part of the tip economy?
Oh, I'd say more than half.
Who knows? I mean,
in any major city, Brian, any major city in these big cities, which are run by Democrats, are usually blue. L.A., New York City, Philadelphia, Atlanta, all of them have a huge tip economy because you have to figure it's beyond. I mean, this is one of his most genius moves to date.
Oh yeah,
I wonder if he, like you said to me, thought it up on the minute, the fly, or thought about it. I think he's probably thought about it for a while. This covers waiters, restaurant staff, as well as doormen, anybody who does delivery, DoorDash, Instacart,
Kathy, dog groomers.
Target, dog groomer, any
nail techs.
It is a tip.
Barbers, hairdressers.
That's exactly
masseuses.
Right. And a lot of those people are under 40. That's a young demographic, people that run around, and not many older people do that. That is probably one of the smartest things now. I don't know the economic impact. I think the spending will offset.
Well, let me tell you a couple things.
But he's going to cut a lot of spending with the government.
Let me tell you a couple things about that, okay? It's not just a big savings for the people that get the tips. The way it works is the employer of people that earn tips pay a portion of the taxes on that.
Right. No,
so
it's huge.
So it saves money for the employer too. I got some calls today, and some people are like, well, I don't like the idea that they're singling out a group of people for a tax cut. Here's the thing, okay? I tried to explain this to a couple people, but they didn't want it to sink in, okay? Not everybody, but most people that earn tips don't make a lot of money, right? They don't make a lot of money. They don't pay income tax, most people. And what I mean by that is there's different kinds of taxes. There's income tax and there's payroll taxes. Payroll taxes, your Medicare, your Social Security deductions, those deductions from your paycheck. People that earn the tip economy,
that's what they live off of. They live off the tips.
The tip economy people pay payroll taxes, but they don't earn enough to pay income taxes on top of that.
Right.
So when there are tax cuts by the federal government, they reduce taxes in the different tax brackets. But the lower income workers, you always hear the left, Bernie, all the left saying they don't get any break on that because they don't pay income taxes. So when you reduce the taxes by tax bracket, the lower income people get no tax break because they don't pay income taxes. So to give the lowest people on the financial totem pole tax breaks, you have to isolate it to
Plus,
groups.
It's their money.
That's
Which would
right.
you rather have?
It's their money.
Tax breaks for tip workers or student loans being paid off?
Which isn't their money.
Also, the Trump tax cuts will be reinstated.
Yeah,
that we had before. Those will be, and he'll offer more tax cuts. The government is spending so much right now, and I think Trump has a plan. I think he's going to model himself after the Argentinian president, who I love, with the awesome hair. I can't think of his name right now. He just fired 50,000 government workers. Argentina is not a huge country. It's not like America. I mean, it's, probably the size of Georgia or something. I don't know.
It's got to be bigger than that.
But I think Trump is going to fire a lot of government employees and dismantle some agencies. Yeah. And I think he's going to really slash the federal government budget big time.
I know he's going to cut off Ukraine. That's a lot.
That's going to happen.
That's a lot.
And I think he is going to spend his 4 years getting America on the right track and getting us off this thing of supporting the world and this globalism idea. And I'm really happy to see with young people that they're starting to embrace this feeling of national pride. And they're starting to reject this idea of that we all just need to coexist and live wherever we want, and we can just go. I mean, that's good that sounds good, but that's not sustainable, especially when you're supporting everybody, and I think this is a great idea of his with the tips. I was really, when he said that, I was like, wow, nobody has ever thought of that.
Okay, now, this is insane what Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire have done. Now, on yesterday's show, we were talking about this thing with Candace Owens, right? About Candace Owens said at Turning Point over the weekend that the Daily Wire sent a spy to follow her around. And I thought that was a little bit crazy. I said, why do they need a spy? They have the Turning Point conference is available online. There's people there. But now I think Candace was most definitely telling the truth. What Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire did to one of their employees is insane. And I don't know if what they did is legal or not. You guys can let me know in the comments. Listen to this. The Daily Wire fired one of their employees for sending a supportive message to Candace Owens from his personal email. Right? Listen to this. This is insane. This is in the Gateway Pundit.
How do they have access to his personal
Listen to
email?
this. Listen to what
It's not
happened.
Company email. That's weird.
Let me share. It explains it. And
Wow.
and when now keep in mind, Candace Owens said they sent a spy, and I thought that was crazy when we were talking about that yesterday. Wait, when you hear what the Daily Wire
Oh my
did to this
gosh.
employee,
He's going to destroy his company.
you will believe that they sent a spy after Candace Owens.
Wow.
I've been very vocal for many years. I don't like Ben Shapiro, but that Boring guy, Jeremy Boring, he seems kind of funny. He did the Jeremy's chocolates
I
and all
can't
that
stand
stuff.
the guy that's obsessed with transgender, Michael Knowles.
I don't like Michael Knowles at all.
He's obsessed with the gays.
I don't like any these.
And he interviews these bimbos.
This thing that he does with the OnlyFans models
He's a
is
creep.
so creepy. He
Yeah.
just wants to be close to them.
Exactly.
And this is a way that he can do it, make it look like he's okay.
He's weird.
He's weird. But when you hear what they did to this employee, I think you guys will believe too that they did send a spy to Turning Point, like Candace Owens said, to spy on her. Listen to this. The Daily Wire, this is in the Gateway Pundit. I did tweet this, so it's on my X if you want to go and read the whole story. The Daily Wire has terminated an employee for sending Candace Owens a message of support from his personal email account. The former employee's name is Sawyer. He says he had left his personal email account logged in on his work computer, and the Daily Wire went through his personal email from his personal account on his work computer looking for communications with Candace Owens.
So I wonder what happened that made them suspicious of him.
I don't know. Maybe he was friendly with her,
Or saying nice things about her, or something.
or
around the
maybe she
office.
was saying some things after she left, and they knew they had a corporate spy. Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire in March, and of course that's been pretty rough. A couple of days ago, now she had said that that they had sent the spy there. The Daily Mail reporter's email claimed junior employees at the Daily Wire had said Owens was mean and mistreated them. And additionally, addressing the issue in a live stream, Owens posted emails from Daily Wire staffers disputing the claims and offering her support. And that's how this came around. On Friday, so this was this past Friday. On Friday, the Daily
Ben
Wire...
Shapiro is very petty. He is a very petty
and so's
man.
Jeremy Boring, obviously.
Wow.
On Friday, the Daily Wire fired this kid without warning for sending Candace Owens moral support through his private email address. The Daily Wire claimed he could no longer be trusted for not playing along with their narrative. He put together a GoFundMe because he lost his job, and on his GoFundMe, he wrote this. My work was pleasant and going fine until I stood up for the character of one of my friends and former superiors, Candace Owens. The Daily Wire did not like this and terminated me on Friday without warning. I was fired for sending Candace a personal email of moral support when the Daily Mail accused her of abusing her former team. I said nothing negative about the Daily Wire in my email to her. In my meeting with Human Resources, they notified me they were able to access my private email correspondence because although I sent the communication from my personal email address on my personal device, I accidentally left my personal email logged into one of the Daily Wire computers. I'm still confused as to why stating that that I wasn't abused would be grounds for termination. I was caught off guard by being terminated for standing up for someone's character. I believe in standing up for the truth and not wavering in my morals, he continued. GoFundMe pulled his GoFundMe, so that's no longer up there.
They pulled it?
They pulled it.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
You know, the Daily Wire are just tyrants.
Yeah.
You know, employees, when they have a company email, the employers have access to it. They always do. Your supervisors always have access to your employee email.
Absolutely.
But I've never heard of an employer going through someone's private email. And I imagine that people use company computers and have their private emails on most of them if they're there all day.
Well, they sat at his desk.
And went through it.
And went through his...
Well, what's crazy...
What, did he leave to go to lunch and leave it there? Something happened, or... I guess it wasn't a laptop. It was like one of their computers.
A laptop or a desktop. He sent the email from his personal device, like his phone. But I guess his email's also on his office computer.
Well,
and they logged into his office computer and signed into his email and read it.
But he did it from work. So, you know, you could make the argument that he should not be sending personal emails from work and that he was asking for it.
That's a big violation, Kathy. They could
but I agree with you. But
they
I'm
got
saying,
access to his bank account maybe that way.
I know. I agree with you.
That's, you know, the Daily Wire is not what they're not the people that they want us to think they are. This is really outrageous
Well,
stuff.
I think what's happening is I think Ben Shapiro is a very petty man who's a control freak.
He claims to have no influence over there, which is nonsense.
He's full of crap.
Yeah,
he's running the whole show. And he just doesn't want to take responsibility.
Correct.
I think he hired her to keep her under control.
Yes.
We said that before. And they obviously didn't agree on things. So now he fired her. And now that he's fired her, he's losing control. And once her NDA is over, he's really in trouble. And believe me, it's just going to build and build and build. And when that's over, she's going to have a lot to say. I'm sure she's trying to get out of it, which I don't know if she could. And I don't know how long it's for. But she's saying things, but she can't say everything. She doesn't want to lose.
She's limited.
She doesn't want to lose her money and get sued and lose everything she's worked for. They did pay her quite a bit. But now that he's fired her, he's desperately trying to get control, you know, like put the toothpaste back in the tube. But I think he made a mistake of letting her go. And now that she's not there, he can't keep her under his thumb anymore. And it's freaking him out.
The Daily Wire is going to destroy themselves.
They are.
They're
in a panic, and that always happens.
Right now, because of the war in Israel, a lot of people who support Israel, I support Israel, by the way. I don't support the Daily Wire, but I support Israel. A lot of people who support Israel are supporting the Daily Wire right now because so few media outlets are supporting Israel.
Right, that's true.
But the way that so a lot of these things that are going on right now, people aren't paying that close attention to because of that. Once things cool off in Israel, okay, and things get back to normal politically, the Daily Wire is in big trouble. The way they behaved going through this kid's personal email. I understand. I don't know technically. I don't know what the laws are. It doesn't matter. To me, that's a violation, and that's over the line. I'm
going to put up a poll
like
on your channel and see if people even subscribe to this thing anymore.
Oh, I don't subscribe to it. I wouldn't subscribe to it.
I don't get it, but
I wouldn't
I'm curious
subscribe to it.
if people are subscribed.
I'd like to – there's no way for us to know this, but I'd like to know how much their subscriptions have fallen off because Candace Owens is gone, and I imagine a lot. But like I said, because of the war in Israel, a lot of people are supporting the Daily Wire because they're supporting Israel.
Right.
And so I don't think the Daily Wire has felt the impact of this. Really
I disagree. I think when they fired her, they lost a lot of people.
I mean, like the full impact.
Yeah.
This story that I just shared with you, there were the two things: Candace Owens about the Daily Wire spy at Turning Point, which I think is confirmed by the way they behave. This is very stealth.
But where did you read this? I mean, is this?
I saw that.
Is the average person going to even know this even is happening? I mean, you know what I mean? Not everybody's reading everything.
I've seen this in two places, okay? One is the Gateway Pundit. This story about this kid. Okay, the thing about Candace Owens was everywhere. This thing about this firing and this personal email was in the Gateway Pundit, which all conservatives read the Gateway Pundit, from Fox News everyone on. Okay, everybody reads the Gateway Pundit. So everybody that's conservative knows. And the Quartering on YouTube did a whole video on this earlier too, and I saw he did a whole video on this.
No, he gets a lot of views.
Yeah, so a lot of people know about this. But the other thing the Daily Wire is benefiting from is there's so much insane news going on today that this is kind of getting put on the back burner. They are crazy people over there, and it's really a shame that a conservative group is acting like a liberal group. This is not how conservatives
maybe
typically
they're not really
act.
conservative. You know.
Ben Shapiro was a never Trumper.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always say never trust a never Trumper.
And then what's going on with Alex Jones?
Oh, he's done. In fact, Roger Stone said yesterday, he asked this question, and when he asked the question, really he was putting out feelers hoping to find these people. He says, maybe I should put together an investors group and buy Infowars. Infowars is being sold. Alex Jones has to sell everything.
For the Sandy Hook thing.
And Alex Jones, what the future of Alex Jones will always be with us somewhere, but he's not going to be. There are going to be very few people.
But he won't have Infowars anymore.
It's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Now, who knows?
He'll start all over again.
Who knows
somewhere
what
else.
that means? You know, somebody could buy Infowars and hire Alex Jones to be on Infowars. You know, that's possible.
So it's up for sale?
Well, what's happened to this? Okay, yeah, he's got to liquidate everything.
Okay.
What's happened to Alex Jones with these lawsuits is very similar to what happened with O.J. Simpson with the civil lawsuits. O.J., when the Goldmans won that civil lawsuit and the murders, couldn't earn any money. He did have his NFL pension, which for some reason was protected from lawsuits and such, but he couldn't make any money. He couldn't make a movie, not that anybody hire him. He couldn't do appearances or autograph shows. He'd have to give all the money to Fred Goldman because of that judgment. Mm-hmm. Alex Jones is in a similar situation. Okay, he can't make any money because he's got to give it to the lawsuit.
Well, then I'm wondering if this is just a way for him to shift things around where he can go off.
No, I don't think so.
Well, no, hold on. I'm wondering if he's doing this so he can go earn money. Like the lawsuit might be attached to his company.
No, it's him.
So
it's him
if he sells so no matter what he does, even if he starts a whole new thing.
Correct.
He's still liable.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're forcing him to liquidate his asset to go towards the lawsuit judgment. So if he started something else, they would take that too. And I
wonder what he's going to do.
He's going to have a hard time because most people aren't going to want to hire him because they're afraid they'll be liable or they'll lose something that they'll come and take from him. It could, you know. I mean,
I wouldn't want to be connected to that. I mean, I don't know who's going to.
They're going to have a hard time
invest with him.
They're not. It's going to be. He'll come and go. He'll pop up. And things will look great, maybe, but then something will happen.
Somebody will buy Infowars, and they'll do it without him. They'll have to.
Well, like I said, someone might buy Infowars and then hire him and say, "Oh, see," but that's not going to fly.
No way.
They're not going to let that happen.
Not going to happen. No, so, why would they put up? Why would they expose themselves to that kind of liability?
What will happen is anyone who hires him, there's a good chance they'll be targeted by the lawsuit. Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So
I wouldn't go.
You know,
near that.
I mean, it's insane, and this is going to be the rest of his life because the money is like so large.
Those parents are never going to let him.
He'll never. No, he would never be able to pay that settlement. It's too much money. It's unpayable. It's kind of like these judgments against Trump. They're so large. They're meant to destroy a man.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's what they're meant for. There's no way that he could pay that back unless some big multi-billionaire like Jeff Bezos type came in and said, okay, I'm going to give you $1 billion. Short of that, he's going to have this burden for the rest of his life.
I don't know if
I don't know why
would happen with him because he's pretty tainted with that Sandy Hook thing. He said some crazy things.
There's one thing he might do.
You know what I mean?
There's one thing I could see him doing, okay? And there may be a way to do this. I could see him leaving the country and going to some free country where there's protections and trying to start his show over there.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll go to Russia and do his show from Russia. I'm serious. And do his show from Russia. And I don't know.
Where he can make money that's not touchable.
Yeah. Where they can't come and seize the studio and seize the company. But then again, they might go after the platforms that carry the show over here, right? You know, like the servers. Yeah. So who knows? But I would think that people around him that would say, "Hey, go to Russia or something, do your show from Russia." I'm sure there's other countries too, other than Russia.
But there seems to be a trend of multiple conservative outlets.
Gateway Pundit,
Epic now Times Daily Wire, possibly Infowars, Tucker Carlson. You know, he was fired. That are
yeah, that's right. There's
being dismantled.
That's exactly right. Now, listen, we are out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will talk to you next time.